Oh, Susie, I would like to ask you another question. I heard you have met Mr. Drovalon and his wife Claudette in Australia, who we know is the author of the book The Ancient Secret of the Flower of Life. How did you guys meet? And were there any interesting stories between you two?
Oh, thanks, Lucy. Yes, it was way back in the mid-90s. I met Drunvalo and Claudette at a whale and dolphin conference in Queensland, which is one of our upper states here in Australia. And Drunvalo was speaking there. And, of course, it was brilliant. It was wonderful. And then he also did talks in Sydney. And so I went to that talk, and it was brilliant. It was all about the flower of life and the background to the flower of life and the Merkaba breathing technique. And then I did a weekend workshop with Claudette. Claudette has the Blue School, and it's mysticism of the Kabbalah. And it was called an imagery workshop.
Yes.
And then Claudette and I had a lunch together on that over that weekend on both those days. So I was able to, we spoke about family. We spoke about our kids.
Oh,
it was really lovely. My girlfriend, one of my girlfriends was with me, so it was the three of us. So it was a really like girlfriend to girlfriend type conversation.
Wow.
And with Drunvalo, of course, his work is so fascinating. And I used to assist my meditation teacher, who was a trained facilitator of that workshop here in Australia. And I used to offer a weekend of videos as a prelude to going and doing the 3-day workshop. And so quite a few weekends we would have 9 o'clock in the morning to midnight at night, watching hours and hours of video, which was actually of Drunvalo giving the workshop in America.
Oh.
So we got all that information, and we had the books with us, and it was all in preparation for going and doing the Flower of Life workshops.
Yeah.
So yes, it was wonderful to actually meet him. And he had his 2 little girls who were little at that stage. They're grown up now, of course, 2 of his children with him. So it was very much a lovely feeling of family and unity. And it was lovely to meet them on that level.
Well, that's super great to hear those news. And personally, I have attended Drunvalo's workshop as well, the Awaken the Illuminated Heart.
Oh, wonderful.
Which is pretty good, and it helps us to return to our heart and, to gain the power, the true power from our inside.
Yes.
And to find who we truly are.
Yes.
And
very heart-centered work.
Yes. And then could I ask, have you had any other miracles encounters with other people with similar values in your life?
Yes. Let me see. I remember I was the Australian speaker at an international crystal healing conference that was held here in Victoria in Australia. So Melody and Nyasha Ashian. Melody has written a lot of books on crystal healing, and particularly I'm trying to remember the names of her books was Crystals in the Earth.
Wow,
and Nyasha Ashian is well known for the Book of Stones, which is just a brilliant book on crystal healing. I'd really recommend it, as well as Katrina's books. And we were the 3 speakers at this weekend conference down in Victoria. And one of the workshops that I presented was a workshop on labyrinths. And I had the opportunity, with about 8 people helping me, on the Saturday evening when the conference finished, we laid over 10,000 crystals over the top of the Chartres Cathedral labyrinth. which is most beautiful labyrinth in a church in France. And because the conference was taking place in a crystal warehouse, they had a big conference space within that warehouse, we had access to all of these crystals.
Whoa.
So we laid over 10,000 crystals on the labyrinth. And then the next day I presented the labyrinth workshop, and I played the crystal bowls while people walked the labyrinth. And then we opened it up to the general public. And we had people coming in from the general public. It was towards the end of the conference. And it was sort of a gift, really, to the general public to come and experience this. And that's when I realized for the first time that I could play the crystal bowls for a very long time. And I was playing the bowls nonstop for about 5 hours.
Wow,
And
that's super long.
I just didn't know that I could do that. And I guess until I had the opportunity to experience it. So it was beautiful. All those crystals on the labyrinth, and then playing the bowls while people did a walking meditation through the labyrinth was very, very special.
Yes, that's fantastic experience.
Yes. So that's just one little story of a few people that I've met along the way that I've found inspirational and beautiful, heart-centered people.
Yeah, and you have mentioned that you are the first group of teachers that get trained from Katrina, the crystal healing system.
In Hawaii, that's right. Yes, there were 5 of us. And that was over... I would keep on going back to the island of Kauai in Hawaii for 2 years. And that was just a most wonderful experience. I had a beautiful experience there when my friend and I were staying at a B&B, a bed and breakfast place. And it was out past Kapa'a, out in the national forest. And lights were out, about 9:30. But they had a jacuzzi that was open to the elements on 2 sides, and then it was inside the house on 2 sides. So it was a moonless night, and there was just a soft drizzle of rain coming down. So it was very mysterious evening. And we got into the jacuzzi. Everyone else had gone to bed. It was just the 2 of us. And we lit candles around and put it around the hot jacuzzi. We put crystals around us, and we both were in the jacuzzi in the warm water meditating. And all of a sudden, I heard this music. And I said to my friend, someone must have put the radio on.
Yeah.
She said, I can't hear anything. I said, can't you hear that music? But she couldn't hear anything. She said, I think you're hearing something else.
Yeah, I believe so.
So we settled back into the water, and it came again. And really to explain what it sounded like, it was like waves of a chorus.
Whoa.
A wave of the chorus. I don't know whether you've ever seen starlings in a murmuration, which is when starling birds gather together as one and they move through the sky like this. Have you ever seen it?
No.
And if I had to describe, I guess creatively, how the sound was, that's what it reminded me of.
Whoa.
Is this these waves of birds going through the sky. And it felt as if it was multi-layered. And I realized I was hearing an angelic choral singing.
It must be a higher power, the sound that has been passed to you.
Yes, in that moment. And I remember being so grateful that I'd had that experience, because it wasn't something I usually experience.
Yes.
And I just felt it was a gift, and that I could just have that experience of sacred sound.
Yeah.
And it was before I came to the crystal bowls, and the crystal bowls it feels like sacred sound. But it was a few years before I actually heard the crystal bowls.
It must be a sign, a divine guided sign.
I felt there was a real guidance there, and I felt it as a beautiful gift.
Yes.
And that's how I accepted it and appreciated it.
And I believe at your age now, you have already accomplished most of your goals in your life. Aside from the current goal of teaching and healing to more people and cultivating more future energy healers, do you have any other visions or dreams in your life that you would like to achieve?
Oh gosh, yes. I'm always have projects going because my way of understanding my world has been through taking action.
Yeah.
And so that action might even be reading a book, or in my case, I'm wanting to write a book. So I have written 2 books, and one is a spiritual fable and another one is a book of affirmations. And my 3rd book that I wish to write is on sound therapy.
Oh.
So that's sort of somewhere in the future and perhaps the next few years. So that is certainly holding the vision for that.
Yeah.
And for me, a vision of constantly learning and experiencing. I'm interested in life. I'm interested in people. I'm interested in having experiences that are heart-centered, and I'm interested in study.
Yes.
So I have a lot of philosophical studies that I'm involved in.
Yeah.
And I'm interested in connecting the mind and the heart so that they act together in unity.
And in harmony, yes.
Yeah. So that's a lifelong passion, and that will continue, into my future.
Yeah, and then I remember you have already published 4 CD albums.
Yes.
Your symbols. Are you going to planning for another one in the future?
I have had some thoughts around that, and yes. So my late husband wrote a beautiful piano piece for me called Susie's Song, and I have spoken to friends of mine that are musicians about the possibility of someone recording his beautiful song and me playing the bowls with it. So that's a project that's in the back there that may happen. I thought that would be a beautiful tribute to him and to our love. So that's something that is a future possibility. But I've loved working and recording my CDs. And as you said, I have 4 of them. And if you've got time, I can tell you a little story about that. I had a phone call one day from a lovely lady that said she had been suffering from chronic fatigue syndrome for many years, and she was 96% improved, and her health was so good she was going back to work. And she said the last year she had played my CD, Opening the Heart to Joy, every day.
Yeah.
And she had learned Reiki and gives herself Reiki every day. And she had really changed her diet so that she was eating very healthy food. So those 3 things. And so she was phoning me up to tell me about that and to thank me for the CD. So that was a beautiful thing to hear from someone. And we did eventually meet and we had lunch together, which was a lovely experience. Another just experience with my CDs, another teacher that I know, she teaches a lovely workshop called Heart Resonance, and she uses my Opening the Heart to Love CD. She's been using that CD for about 10 years now. Every time she runs that workshop, that's the music that they have in the background. And there's other stories too that of the effectiveness of working with the crystal bowl sound. If you can't be there in person, the next best thing is certainly what we're doing, and we're making it as real and as one-on-one, as if the person was here with me. And the second thing is to work with a CD.
Yeah, I think it will be a good choice.
It'll be a good choice. Then you can play it whenever you want. You can go to sleep with it, have it as a background for meditation.
Yeah.
Because certainly the crystal bowls are known for the way that they help a person be totally relaxed, find that peaceful place within where there's nothing else is happening. It's stillness. And that's where the deep transformation occurs.
Oh, truly, appreciate it. And I understood what you said. And personally, I have listened to that CD as well, and it's really heart touching. And each of my chakras have reactions to different sound in different note, which is really interesting experience. And before we come to an end, do you have any last words for our audience in China?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Lucy. I'd just like to say how much I'm looking forward to working with the dear folk in China and being able to share the skills that I have and the knowledge that I have through the crystal bowl sounds and with yourself, Lucy. And it's a real joy for me to have the chance to reach such a wide audience and in a new culture and a new part of the world. I've travelled and taught in many parts of the world, but haven't as yet been to China. So I'm very excited at the possibilities.
Yeah, and then I believe, with our co-work, we introduced the interactive way of healing, and we combine the healing with sound therapists and also with the person itself to help it to return to their heart and to gain their true powers, to know who they truly are, instead of telling them who you are. I think it's better way to guide them to find their own self. I think it's definitely the better way. And I believe this interactive sound healing session will help more people in China to find their own way and to find their own self.
And the joy that comes to finding that part of ourselves is really profound.
Yes.
And I'm so happy to be a part of that. Thank you, Lucy.
Thank you, Susie. And thank you for to take the time out to have this interview with me.
Oh, my pleasure.
Yeah, and then there's so many information in this interview, and I'm hoping our audience can know you better and to know what is the truling is.
I'm looking forward to knowing them.
Yeah, so thank you for listening.
Thank you, Lucy.